Visitors from the other side. And the other side in our frame of reference is neither the Jordan or the Rubicon, but commercial radio and television. The fact that WNYC is the only non-commercial, municipally owned radio station in the United States does not prevent us from inviting people from the other side. So each week at this time, we bring you a personality from commercial radio or television.
What is your name?
And our guest has the opportunity of speaking without commercial restrictions, and our listeners have the pleasure of hearing him from a new vantage point. We're not so sure about our guest today. You may hear him from the same vantage point. But he's Imus. Imus in the morning, as he's known at WNBC, where he holds forth in the morning. Imus, can we call you Don? Are you known as Don at all?
No. And you can't call me Don because you wouldn't use my Banaka breath spray. Incidentally, folks, Banaka is available now in a new concentrated golden breath spray, and it comes in a little canister, and you can put it in your pocket and give yourself a shot. And,
you see, without commercial restrictions,
do not spray in your eyes. Do not puncture incinerators, store containment.
Imus, what city did you come from before you came to New York City?
I spent a year in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm. Did you do the same kind of program?
No, I was a truck driver, you dummy. Of course I did the same kind of program.
This is what Imus is like.
No, I'm a very warm person, except when I'm pushed.
Imus has
treated terrible out in the reception room. You have a match?
Well, we don't smoke at WNYC, Imus.
No. Well, we can't even advertise them, can we, anymore?
Imus has a red, white, and blue shirt on with stars.
It's American
and his eyes, he's got stars in his eyes also. But he's a likable chap.
About that breath spray, folks.
Imus, you're on, what hours are you on WNBC? In case someone who's never heard you might want to listen to you.
According to the Pulse, there's a lot of people that haven't heard us.
Don't believe those things, I mean. Whose Pulse?
Yeah, that's true.
All right. You're on at what time?
6 to 10.
6 to 10 in the morning. And does that include Saturday?
No, on Saturday we do a show called The Best of Imus in the Morning. That was the title that I picked, modestly. Uh-huh. And I'm on from 8 to noon.
On Saturday?
And then we repeat all of the zany, hilarious things that we had done from the week before.
And then Sunday is your day of rest?
That is the day that I heal.
I see. If we can get Imus to concentrate for a moment or so, we do want to talk about his format. He has he is warm. And what he's saying here is no reflection of, I'm sure, of his real personality. Those hostile things he's saying to us, I mean.
I mean every word of it.
Well, Imus has a talent contest in which he invites listeners to, as a matter of fact, they can telephone. What's the number that they call for to get on your talent contest?
Plaza 78866.
Plaza 78866.
It's called the Columbus School of 101 Showbiz Careers Live Auditions.
And if you call that number, and if you have some kind of talent, do you accept any kind of talent?
Well, we really prefer people more consistent with the people that are making it in showbiz today, and that would be those that didn't have any talent, as evidenced by. Well, look at you with your own show here. You got about as much business doing this as Perry Bascom does.
Well, can I call Plaza 78866 and be auditioned?
I
would fit into that category.
Yes, you would.
Right?
Yeah.
So I can call Plaza 78866, and then when I call that, what happens? I say, hello, Imus. I'm ready. I'm ready to...
Well, see, we only do it once a morning, and it's at various times. Sometimes it's between, 6 and 7. Sometimes it's after 9. Just depends on when I feel like doing it.
It's inconsistent.
Yeah. Much like this show. And I invite people to call, that want to audition, and then I have a certificate. I wish I should have brought one with me.
Well, we can get one later.
Yeah. Well, anyway, and then I invite them to do things, and... The best kind of things to do are things that need to be visual, because they're just that much sillier on the radio.
But you have them say a phrase. They have to say, there's some phrase you give them to say. What is that?
Oh, I just ask them if they want to be a truly beautiful person and are willing to, perhaps be caught in a motel in Indio, California, in a compromising position with Annette Funicello and Bobby Darin. A Gideon Bible in one hand and a road map in the other.
In addition, though, you get someone on who calls you and say, I want to audition. I want to be a disc jockey, and I want to be this. And
I had Dan Ingram call me, as a matter of fact.
Did you give him the audition?
No, I didn't, because Well, I just didn't use it.
But what is that phrase? You tell them to say, there's a whole phrase that you give them to say. What is that?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't even know what do you know what he's talking about? No, I don't know what he's talking about.
Now, you have been in New York now.
How much longer do we have? 25 minutes. Oh, wow.
That's a sample of Imus in the morning that you can get here.
I don't leave anyone
in the
out.
afternoon. I mean, Imus, what else? You play a lot of good music, though. There's a redeeming factor about Imus. In his show. Do you pick all of that music?
Oh, well, no, it's programmed by we have a record librarian that handles all of that, and the station has kind of a format, and the format is that we play about 40 of the best of the current things, and we're not right out rock and roll, but we're certainly not a middle-of-the-road station, an old people station like WNEW or WHN or WOR. A has-been radio station. We're not like them.
Right, NBC is climbing.
But the thing we do, we play a lot of oldies.
That's what I noticed. You play all those old sounds.
Every other one is an oldie, and they're all things. Let's start with 1955, and a lot of the things that. Are you familiar with Gus Gossett's show?
You played "I've Seen Fire, I've Seen Rain." You were singing that this morning.
Was I?
Yeah. I've seen fire, I've seen rain. Now, but that was an unusual version. That's why I wonder whether you picked.
Well, that was James Taylor.
Yeah,
that was his. He had the original.
Did he? I didn't know.
Oh yeah, he had the hit on it. We don't play any cover, and we don't play. I Want to Hold Your Hand by Steve and Edie. We don't even play Steve and Edie, but we play Edie Gourmet's Blame It on the Bossa Nova, and we play Steve. What's his face? Portrait of My Love, and a couple other things. But there's nothing but hits. Hit after hit after hit.
Imus has a.
They're all former Boss hit bands.
Has another unique.
Don't let me
style.
interrupt you.
That's all right. Another unique style. I don't know how you do this, and I suppose I'll never find out now.
Yeah.
But when he talks, he leaves out words sometimes, and I don't know whether that's a mechanical defect of NBC or whether that's Imus. Like he will be saying the other. And then there's another word that comes in. How do you do that?
I don't know. I do it on purpose, so because in that way they think a lot of people, it gets their attention. They think there's something wrong with the radio.
There's really something wrong with Imus.
Yeah, this morning we did a thing that was kind of unique. We were playing a record scene, and we were going to be 10 seconds short going into the news on the hour. See? I told the engineer, I said, hey, stop the thing for 10 seconds. But don't, just we'll have 10 seconds of silence. So we did. He just stopped the cart and then started it again. And the general manager came running in and got the chief engineer. And I guess they must have spent a half an hour. They were just hissed at what doing. They couldn't understand what was wrong. And they never asked me, so I never say anything. But it gets people's attention. That's
right. They hear silence and they come to attention.
Yeah.
What other? Do you have other segments on the program? Now you're on from 6 in the morning until 10, and you have this talent contest, and then there's something else that you do.
I have a bunch of characters. One character is called the Right Reverend Dr. Billy Saul Hargis, who has his own church called the First Church of the Gooey Death and Discount House of Worship. In Discount House of Worship, in that you may make a $5 donation for $3.98, but you get credit for the entire $5. He also has an amusement park, America's only religious amusement park. It's not one of those pilgrim traps or something. It is a genuine amusement park called Holy Land, and it is in Del Rio, Texas, and it features all of the neat things you read about in the book. It's a Holy Martyr Rack and the giant Whirl-A-Whip and the stone the painted lady booth, where you can buy 3 stones for $0.25 and do the brought in. And then he's also, but his main thing is he sells things. This morning he was selling. You know how you've always seen pictures of him, and his hair is never messed up. Did you ever wonder why?
Now I have.
Yeah. Well, it's because he used what you can use in your very own home, according to Billy Saul, and it is dry controlled by Heat Brutalis. He also has.
Do you get many calls from clerics?
Well, many of them understand that it's a satirization of not Christianity or any other kind of religion, but a satirization of these evangelists that are ripping people off by their act. I don't know. Oh, like Oral Roberts and some of those creeps,
Then,
I mean, I don't know that Oral Roberts is ripping people off, but
there's the famous.
There are guys that are.
The real famous one,
Billy Graham.
Yeah,
I don't think he's ripping people off. Really, I think he's a straight dude. I personally admire him. Billy Saul Hargis has a voice very similar to Billy Graham's, but that's simply because it's identifiable, But I think he's, whether you buy that act or not, at least he's not healing people and making blind people see and that kind of boogie woogie, And we have a character called Judge Hagen, who is sounds an awful lot like John Connolly or Lyndon Johnson, and he is a guy that that missed out on the Supreme Court, by a tree or a shrub, and he believes that, as he often says, the law is our friend, and anyone who hurts our friend should be beaten senseless. And he, for example, feels that we should conduct the 72 elections much like they did in South Vietnam, in that President Nixon should have no opposition. Well, it worked pretty good there, and it would work especially well here because you wouldn't have them taking up so much TV time. You wouldn't have any stupid predictions by a lot of TV guys, and there wouldn't be very little campaign spending and stuff, and it would all be over very quickly.
Our guest is Imus in the Morning, and you're probably hearing him.
We know that.
More than you'll ever hear him at any one point as he describes his political philosophy and his religious philosophy. And he does that very well. You only get him in spurts in the morning because he really blasts out over WNBC. And then he puts the music on, and then he has this contest. But we're going to try to pry into Imus a little more. See if we can make
We got 17 minutes, clown. With it.
See if we can make a revelation here and now. Can we find out where you're really from, Imus? Is it Cleveland?
No, I'm from California, and
you're really from California? No?
Yeah, I used to spend a year in Cleveland. I was born in Riverside, California,
and you had, when I asked you about the way you conduct yourself on the air,
yeah,
I was wondering whether you did this in Cleveland, and they heard about you and said, well, look, New York audiences need some of this shaking up. I mean,
well, that is precisely what happens. Doing, a much less refined version of what I'm doing now. Not that it was any better, or worse. It was just, at least I do whatever I do now better is all, And then I worked at a couple stations there. And then when I was in Sacramento, California, I won the Billboard Magazine Award as the Medium Market Disc Jockey of the Year. And then this past year, I won the Billboard Disc Jockey Award as the Major Market Disc Jockey of the Year. Gary Owens of Laugh-In and I, Gary has a show on KMPC in Los Angeles. He and I jointly won the award. And so I received a lot of publicity in the trade because of that. And so I was speaking at the Billboard convention in Chicago last August, and I was contacted by NBC about coming to New York, But I wasn't really too interested because I figured, man, get in there with those creeps. And, it would be, by the time they got done censoring me, why, there wouldn't be anything left of the show. But they convinced me over a period of about 3 months that they would not censor me, in fact, and that, other than matters of poor taste, which I am prone to get into on occasion. And they have kept their word. So,
I suppose you're happy that you made that decision.
Yes, I am.
And I suppose NBC is happy, or is it too early to tell?
Well, I never ask them. I suppose they are. They haven't,
You're an unusual personality for NBC, one would think. One would more or less begin to associate your style, with ABC or with an underground radio, well, you're not that far out for underground radio, but your style is a mixture of, on the one hand, taming, keeping things somewhat in order, but on the other hand, really, at times, just blasting out. Now, I suppose before NBC, it was more blasting out and less less keeping things in order?
No, it's always been the same.
Same thing. That
didn't change at all.
Well, are you getting a reputation for insulting people in New York, even though it's a radio program? Are there people that don't like you?
Oh, I doubt that.
I mean, listeners?
I doubt that very seriously.
They don't get insulted when you call them creeps and when you call them, and they get on and they say, shut up. I mean, you tell them to shut up, they start to sing. You say, I've never heard anybody as bad as that. Or what was that? You had somebody auditioning as a singer, and I've heard this about 4 weeks ago, I think it was, and you said something. They said to you, I think I could sing as bad as. And they named one of the leading singers, and then they did, and you said, you're right. You really do sing as bad as whoever it was.
Yeah.
But do they enjoy this? I mean, is there a masochistic strain in people in New York where they like to call Imus in the morning and get really ripped up?
Well, I was trying to hustle abroad the other day at lunch, and she told me that I shouldn't do that. I mean, because that's not my act is certainly not Don Rickles or, and I don't. I mean, I don't know whether they like it or not, to answer your question, but I'm not really serious, of course, about it. And, I'm not on the radio to take a lot of cheap shots at listeners and put them down. But I think a lot of them that call for that Columbus thing really realize that they are bad. And that's what makes it funny, I think, is that they are terrible. And on many occasions when somebody is really horrible, I will then compliment them. Simply because it's so incongruous,
How do you feel?
Didn't think I knew a big word like that.
I'm beginning to know more and more about. Listen, it is Don Imus.
Yeah, you can call me whatever you want.
Okay, see, we've warmed him up. We've mellowed him down a little bit. We're really getting through to him now. The Imus.
Another joint. Just a little dope humor.
Incidentally, Imus, is that a real name? Or
Yes, that's my real name.
Imus.
Yeah,
that's an interesting name.
I am. My whole ethnic background is Welsh, English, Jewish, and Polish.
And out of that you get Imus, I-M-U-S.
I guess I did, yeah.
Right. How do you feel about being in a station like this, which is basically...
Oh, it's a real come down, but
Can we get you for one of our witnesses? No, do you have serious thoughts about radio?
No, I don't take any. Mike McGrady and I were talking, and what newspaper do you work for, Demi? Newsday. Yeah.
Newsday.
I just have a good time, and I really, before I got into radio, I was a brakeman for Southern Pacific Railroad.
Is that why you're wearing those overalls?
I guess, yeah.
Right.
And before that, I worked in some copper mines in Arizona and some uranium mines. And,
well, how did you first how did you get into the first radio program?
I got tired of working, man. Calluses, and I just didn't dig that. And a railroad was really a bummer job because I was a brakeman, mainline brakeman on freight trains, and working out of L.A., and you go from L.A. down to Yuma, Arizona, or, up the coast, and gone 3 days sleeping on those crummy cabooses, and, the money wasn't that good, and it was just a drag, so...
And the first station you were on was in California?
Yeah, I went to a disc jockey school, the Don Martin School of Radio.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Did it help? Did it really?
Did I give the name of the school?
Yeah.
The Don Martin School of Radio and Television.
You still have an interest in it, then?
No, I still owe them money, though. I really do. I owe them $500, and... But, when I went there, they told me I was never going to make it because I was, too creepy and stuff. And so now I'm their big attraction, see, and they use me on the cover of their brochure, and, so I figure I'm not going to pay them. Or I'm going to figure when I'm really secure, I'll pay them maybe,
Incidentally, a lot of young people, look and they see radio schools and all that.
That's what they are.
Sure they are. And
dope smoking.
And they see all these advertisements about you can be a big-time disc jockey, come to this radio school. Your experience would be unique in that sense. Not many people go to those schools and really can come out and get into radio. You have to have a personality. It has to be you. You develop what is Imus, and you do it naturally, don't you?
Yeah. But I think you can do whatever you want to do. I think
you don't have to. If you go to one of those schools like you did,
I think if you stand as good a chance as I did. If I can make it, anybody.
Do you believe in school at all? College and for young people.
Oh, I don't know. I guess
What would you do if you weren't?
Good way to meet chicks.
Acting schools also. Have you ever gone to an acting school?
No, I was going to go when I was in the Marine Corps. When I first got out, I was going to go to Pasadena Playhouse, But so I went up and looked around, man, and there were so many guys there that went, hi. So I don't need this. He's in the dorms with him, you know. Sleep on your back.
Well, there are great movements afoot, as you know.
I have a thing I'm going to do tomorrow, and I have a character called Imus in Washington where I do a David Brinkley thing.
Oh, you did that this morning. You did, it was the David Brinkley delivery of that.
That's how Attorney General Mitchell is going to be replaced by a 50-pound sack of jellyfish and an autographed picture of Ramsey Clark. Did you know that Helga Hughes, did you know that Clifford Irving's wife is actually Howard Hughes? That's the latest from McGraw-Hill.
You can't believe them these days.
Well, Howard underwent a sex change operation in Denmark in 1959. And that is who Clifford Irving is. And that is the bombshell that Clifford is saving. And what McGraw-Hill has done now to save face, they recently paid a New Jersey housewife $450,000 in cash because she showed up in their offices here in New York claiming to be Amelia Earhart. McGraw-Hill has reason to believe that she is because she had a complete biographical account of her missing years in the jungles of Arabia. And McGraw-Hill is not sure that there are any jungles in Arabia, but this lady knows a lot about flying, and so they're going to go ahead and publish the book.
Howard Hughes, wherever you are, you can have equal time. And that lady who flies, wherever you are, you can fly in here.
Well, actually, Clifford Irving said she couldn't be Amelia Earhart because Amelia Earhart was with him when he met Howard Hughes. Actually,
that's an intriguing web you're weaving.
I guess. I don't know. He's really he's a neat cat. I'd like to do what he did to McGraw. I'd like to do that to NBC.
Well, Clifford Irving said that was in earlier interviews, about a year or two ago, after one book he said the greatest thing is to really fake out the establishment, to really.
He said that when he did that interview for French television. He and DeHore, is that his name?
I don't know.
What's the painter's name?
Which painter?
Big newspaper guy for Newsday, right? No.
He not only insults his radio listeners, he insults his writers. Don Imus. Imus in the Morning reminds me of the song. What is that song? Imus in the Morning. Dinah in the... No.
Oh, I don't know.
No, I can't. See, I failed the audition already. I was auditioning
How
here.
long is this show? 30 minutes?
Has it been that long? You're a fast talker, Imus, when you're really not interrupted with records.
Grueling minutes.
It's 6. If you like more of this, it's 6 in the morning. Tune in 660 at 6 in the morning and stay with him until 10 a.m.
You won't be able to do it, folks. I guarantee it.
And
maybe 10 minutes.
And
tops.
That's Monday through Friday. And if you want the best of Imus, if he wasn't kidding, and it's hard to know.
No, that's true. We do that show. Then we repeat some of the best things we did in the previous week.
The best of Imus.
Also have an album. And it's called 1,200 Hamburgers to Go. And it's based on a call. I called McDonald's Hamburgers one morning, and I got a hold of a guy that was cleaning up there, but he turned out to be the assistant manager. And I told him that my name was Sergeant Kirkland from the Air National Guard. And I wanted to get some lunches to go. We had a troop movement scheduled at one of the local colleges. And after much to do, he said, I told him I wanted 1,200 hamburgers.
Yeah.
And he said he didn't have enough meat or the buns or any of that stuff. And I informed him that it was the government that wanted them. And he said, well, we're trying to get them. And then I talked him into taking the order, which he did, and finally hung up on me. But that is on the album.
Is that on the record?
Yeah.
Which label was that?
RCA.
Mm-hmm. RCA did that.
In fact, everything that I do is on the album. Judge Hangin' and Crazy Bob, who tells insane fairy tales, and Reverend Hargis and Imus in Washington. And I do a thing called The Lady Works Like This. You have an answer, and then I give you the question, the answer. Give me an answer.
An answer to the question?
No, you give me the answer, I'll give you the question.
Oh, okay.
Anything you want.
Yes.
Well, what did... the answer is yes. The question is, what did Juliet Prowse say about 9 months ago?
I better be careful. Let me give you another answer. I'll give you a phrase answer. But I didn't think that was right.
Do that.
I have another one.
No, I got one for that.
But I didn't think that was right.
Why did Dr. David Rubin flunk out of the Masters Johnson sex course?
The Plaza 7, 8866. Now, if you call that telephone number in the morning. Listen, only stay with Imus about 2 minutes. Come right back to WNYC because...
what do you guys do here, by the way?
Incidentally, what do you think
of... do stupid interviews like this? Because if you do, you're not going to have any listeners. But you don't care, do you?
What do you think of non-commercial radio? Do you think of non-commercial radio?
I don't have any opinion. I think it's good.
Do you think we fill a service?
Yes, I do.
Do you ever listen to us?
Yes, I do.
The Best of Imus is on at 8 o'clock Saturday morning on NBC, by the way. Are you going on television?
Well, I'd like to. I would like to. I don't want to stay in radio other than, 3 more minutes.
No, but even now, could you make television guest appearances? Because you're very colorful. I mean...
Oh, yes, I could, if somebody would ask me.
You haven't been asked yet?
No.
That's because they haven't seen you.
I would like to be on the Johnny Carson show, but after all the things I've said about Joanne and Truman Capote, he won't let me on. I said that Joanne said he was so busy touching his tie, he never touched me, so I dumped him.
Do you have writers, or do you make all of this up as you go along?
No, I use sources like National Lampoon. I get a lot of neat ideas from there. Time Magazine, the San Francisco Chronicle, the front page of the Wall Street Journal. I'm serious. A lot of those little things are really funny. You just got to take a little news story and write a punchline, man. That's it.
Right.
New York Magazine sometimes. Rolling Stone. A lot. Mm-hmm. The Los Angeles Free Press, which is now something else, but no writer's service, no comedy things.
Could you say something? I'm going to ask a favor of you, Imus. Could you say something? Now, 2 things to this request. Something nice to our audience with a nice tone before we say goodbye.
Keep those cards and letters.
Right. Okay. That ends this broadcast of Visitors from the Other Side, and our guest was Don Imus. He just ripped our script up as Imus in the morning, and he's still ripping up. He's causing fire alarms here and everything else. So we want you to, as a matter of fact, we'd like to hear what you think about Imus, and we want you to join us. And incidentally, we do appreciate some of the
you're actually ad-libbing.
Recommendations.
He's ad-libbing, folks, the first time in his career.
Recommendations for guests. And since none of you have asked for Imus,
you can't read, you're lost.
Since none of you have asked for Imus, we have brought him to you, and we'd like to know what you think.
Keep your opinions to yourself, folks.
Remember, Imus in the morning, NBC.
I don't tell you how to drive a cab, do I?
WNBC, and try him one morning.
Yeah, 20 seconds. You're not going to make it. You dummy.
Okay, Imus in the morning.
Sure.
Join us next week again for Visitors from the Other Side.
Thank you for listening. In a moment, the live radio stream from WNYC 93.9 FM will begin.
WNYC is supported by New.